Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. Today, let's go ahead and answer as many mailbag questions as we possibly can here. A lot of our subscribers have asked questions. We're going to pull the best 6 or 7 here to go ahead and answer. All mainly draft focused, as of course, we are less than a week. I mean, we are literally right now on a Friday, Saturday, whenever you're watching this, less than 7 days away from the start, night 1 of the NFL Draft. So we'll go ahead and start with Big Dog 1891, who says, would you rather the Eagles trade up into the top 10 or stay at 12 to the best player and trade back into the first round? Listen, I'm not against trading back up into the top 10. We talked about scenarios where Devonta Smith might fall, and if Smith were to fall or Chase were to fall, then you can go ahead, maybe go up to 8 with Carolina, 9 with Denver, and move your way back inside and take one of those good players. But I think Philadelphia can get a great player at number 12, and I think there are a lot of very good options that you just sit at 12, and you take the best player available at one of the 3 big positions of need, right? Receiver 1, cornerback 2, linebacker sits there at number 3, a little bit less so because, of course, they signed Eric Wilson, but I think there are plenty of good options, and so I'm fine with either one. In terms of trading back into the first round, I like this option, and I don't mind this option, but I also think that it could be a little bit too costly to go from, like, your second-round draft pick up back into 28, 29, 30. There has to be a player that is a can't-miss guy that the Eagles must grab for them to go ahead and do that, like a Terrace Marshall out of LSU, if there's, thoughts he's not going to be there by the time the Eagles pick in round 2. Maybe Asante Samuel Jr. if you get Jaylen Waddle at 12, need a cornerback in round 2. So I'm fine with either one, but I do think you can sit at 12 and take one of these 4 guys. I think one of these 4 guys will be there at number 12, and honestly, any one of the 4 would be a home run hit for Philadelphia, right? We know Surtain would be fantastic big if he's there. J.C. Horn is the number 2 cornerback in this draft. A lot of people love him more than Surtain. He'd be fine at 12. Waddle's your number 3 wide receiver. Again, is he going to be there? I think so, but there's no guarantee, right? Who really knows? And then Parsons as well, right? I'm not as high on Parsons anymore, because, again, you don't really need to go ahead and get a linebacker, but he is an absolute beast. And him with Eric Wilson would take the linebacking core from always the least focused on defensive part of Philadelphia for years to being like literally one of their best. I mean, that linebacking core with Micah Parsons and Eric Wilson plus the defensive line, man, it's really good. It's really, really good. What do you guys think? Pin comment down below. Best guess at who Philly will go ahead and take at number 12. I mean, do you have a best guess? I think it's one of the 4 I just mentioned, but it could be somebody else. If it's somebody else, let me know. If it's one of the 4, give me that best guess down below at the pin comment. Okay, before we go ahead and keep going, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And also, if you're already subscribed, turn on the notifications, right? Because we're trying to get to at least like a quarter of you guys. So, we're getting close to 20,000 subs here. At least a quarter of you guys to turn the notification bell. Click the notification bell. That way you get instant notifications whenever we drop the latest video. Things are going to happen between now and next week. Maybe a trade up, maybe a trade down, maybe trades during the draft, maybe post-draft reaction. All of it's going to be here on this channel. We're going to have to get you up to date on everything. So make sure you guys are 1, subscribed, and 2, turn the notifications on. That way you are notified when we drop a new video, because sometimes YouTube is weird and won't notify a subscriber when we drop a video. And so make sure, again, you guys are subscribed, so turn those on down below right now. All right, Brian says, why do you think they should just automatically hand the starting job to Hurts? I agree with most of your takes, but I absolutely do not agree with this one. Even when they drafted Wentz number 2 overall and gave up the house to get him, he still had to compete with Bradford for the starting job until they traded Bradford last minute due to an offer they couldn't refuse. Hurts was a second-round pick and wasn't even necessarily picked to be Wentz's successor. That's just the way things panned out. So why should he not have to compete for the job? I don't understand your thinking on this one. Well, listen, I mean, I got a lot of criticism a couple of weeks ago or last week when I said it's Hurts' job, which I stand behind, and also that Hurts, needs 2 years, or to be allowed to have 2 years to become a legit starting quarterback in the National Football League, and I stand by this. In terms of open competition, it's not the open competition that worries me, it's who's he going to be competing with, right? Who is Hurts going to be competing with? Are you suggesting they draft a quarterback and pit him against Jalen Hurts? Well, if you're doing that, they're not going to, let's just think about this, right? If you want the Eagles to draft somebody to go ahead and compete with Jalen Hurts, that means you're drafting either Kellen Mond or Kyle Trask, spending a very premium second or third round draft pick on a quarterback, then pitting them head to head and deciding who's going to go ahead and be better. Now, I would put my money behind Jalen Hurts for a couple of reasons. 1, he's been in the Eagles system for a lot longer than a Kellen Mond or Kyle Trask, duh. And 2, he has legit NFL experience, and whether you think he was good or not in those 4 games, he was at least not horrible, and he looked really, really good the final 4th quarter of the Packer game, and, I mean, listen, played lights out, really great football against the New Orleans Saints. So I stand behind Hurts. In terms of letting him have time to go and figure things out. That's what every NFL quarterback should have. You remember Baker Mayfield's rookie year? Wasn't that good, right? And Baker Mayfield got ripped, and then today he just went ahead and they exercised his fifth-year option, and he has the Browns looking a lot better than where they did a couple of years ago. I think a guy like Hurts is going to benefit from getting playing time last year. I think he's going to be great this year, but even if the Eagles were to go 7 wins, 8 wins, as long as we see progression and progress from Jalen Hurts, I think he deserves another year, right? You can't be an NFL organization that just wants to springboard from quarterback to quarterback when one guy struggles just a little bit, just jump right off of him, right? Give him time to figure things out. If the Eagles stay healthy, they're going to be very, very competitive, but I don't think that this idea of needing competition is necessary. I think Flacco will push him far enough and help him along far enough, but I just don't see the idea of wasting a high draft pick on another quarterback when they already did that last year, and at least we like what we see, at least I do so far, with Jalen Hurts. What do you guys think? You think the Eagles would draft another quarterback in this year's draft? I've talked about one way later on, like a very clear backup like Jamie Newman out of Wake Forest / UGA. I don't want Mond or Trask. I'll take someone later on. You think they're going to draft any quarterback this year? Type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. All right, before we go ahead and keep going, when we finally get to the draft, which again is next week, whoever the Eagles take at number 12 and beyond will be wearing this official Eagles draft hat. So all the draft hats are officially announced. They're released, and you can pick them up right now at chatsports.com/Eagles draft. Again, it's the exact one the Eagle players are going to go ahead and wear as they walk across the stage and apparently hug Roger Goodell, because Roger Goodell said he's fully vaccinated. He can go ahead and give a little bro hug there, so that's fun. That's good news. Comes in the trucker hat, the fitted hat, snapback, anyway, what news, or any head size that you have, essentially. We'll go ahead and fit you. So rep your Eagles and pick up the official Eagles first round draft hat right now, chatsports.com/Eagles draft. All right, let's go and get to another question here from Larry. He says, should the Eagles trade a third and something else to move back in the second, and they could get all 3 positions, wide receiver, cornerback, or linebacker? Honestly, yes. Like, I would love to have 2 seconds. We talked about earlier that first question, trading back into the first round. My hesitancy there is the cost, right? I think Philadelphia with 2 third-round draft picks can use one of them, package it with a future second or, more draft picks later on in the rounds, and come back into round 2. If they could get wide receiver, cornerback, and linebacker with, the 12th overall draft pick and then 2 second-round draft picks, the odds of all 3 of those positions of need being filled with good players is very, very high. There's no guarantee. There's literally no guarantee that any of these players are going to be good. We don't know. But if they came out with Waddle in round 1, and then they got a Asante Samuel Jr. in round 2, and then they got like a Nick Bolton out of Missouri, or Zaven Collins out of Tulsa, you could have a really good draft there if you traded back in to the second round and got 2 second-round draft picks. So I'm very much interested, and for that, I would love to have 2 seconds, and I think it's a good thing the Eagles should at least explore, especially if they have multiple guys very high on their draft board, and they have a chance to trade back into round 2 and get an additional second-round draft pick. Brett says, you explain why you value Smith so highly. I think most people agree Surtain and Waddle are better. Yeah, didn't Smith win the Heisman Trophy? I don't know why I've got to explain why Devonta Smith is so great. I know he's gotten a little bit less hype over the past couple of weeks because people seem to forget that he did win the Heisman Trophy, but we forget just how good this guy was. Go put on film of Devonta Smith. Just YouTube Devonta Smith highlights, and you'll see just how great this guy is. You can argue that Surtain would be a better draft pick because he's a great cornerback, but I don't think you can argue that Waddle would be a better wide receiver just based on overall production, right? And I know Waddle comes off an injury, so he didn't play a lot, but you can go back to 2 years ago, and when Waddle played in 2019, compare these numbers and tell me which one's better, right? Devonta Smith almost had 2,000 yards receiving last year. 2,000! And he was playing alongside Jaylen Waddle for the vast majority of that season. You can't look at Smith's numbers here, or even Jamar Chase, who I think is the more comparable comparison here in terms of Smith versus another wide receiver, and say, yeah, what is this, 20-plus touchdowns for Smith, 20-plus touchdowns for Jamar Chase? Yeah, I think I want Jaylen Waddle instead. I know stats aren't everything, but for me, when I'm looking at these guys, I like to have a wide receiver that has production in college. Remember last year when the Eagles went with Jalen Reagor, a better fit over a guy like Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson had 18 touchdowns at LSU his final season. Jalen Reagor had 6. And they still went with Reagor, and maybe Reagor turns out to be good. I hope he does. But Justin Jefferson was clearly a missed pick for Philadelphia, and they passed on him because of a better fit. Give me the guy who has actual production and actually really, really dominates in an SEC environment and situation. I'm very high on Smith. I'm very happy people are off Smith right now. I hope he falls down. I wouldn't hate Waddle again. I think he's a good draft pick and probably will be there at number 12. But if it's between him and Smith at 12, you go Devonta Smith 1,000,000% of the time. I'd be shocked if they don't go ahead and follow my advice. Okay, I'll ask you guys this, though. I don't think this is very surprising, but I don't know, see what the answers say. Would you rather draft Devonta Smith or Jaylen Waddle? right? Let's say they're sitting there at 12. You have either one, Devonta Smith or Jaylen Waddle. Type S down below for Smith. Type W down below for Waddle. And of course, make sure again you guys are subscribed. A lot of people DM me on Twitter asking about how do you get involved? How do I get my question answered? Well, the best way to do it is be subscribed and then leave a comment down below using the hashtag Eagles to get your questions answered. So make sure you guys are subscribed. That's how you get in on our mailbags, and turn on the notifications as well. That way you're notified whenever we drop the latest videos here on the channel. Okay, this is a long one. What's this one say? Steven says, TM, you are horrible with the Eagles. Wow, thank you. It's obvious you are not a fan of the team. Is it obvious? I mean, I just bought this because. Okay. Eagles should have traded 6 for 12 and 18. Goodness gracious. They could have taken Horn at 12, Karamoa at 18, and then up if necessary to get Marshall or taken with second-round picks. Sorry, but you need to be replaced with someone who actually knows what this team does. With that said, Roseman will take pay at 12, then trade back up in the first and take numbnuts from Pee Wee State. Goodness gracious. Trade back with the second-round pick. Who cares what happens after that? My TV will be shattered pieces before day 3. Surtain can't stay with fast wide receivers. He gets burnt. There's so much going on in this video right now. I like the part where it says, I need to be replaced with... Well, wait, what's that? Oh, my replacement's here. Hang on. Let me get my replacement because I don't know what the Eagles are doing. Hang on. Let me just swap here. Hang on. Hey guys, it's me, Mama's Tot. I'm the new host of the Eagles Report here, or Philadelphia Eagles Now on Chat Sports. So there, I replaced Thomas. He's done now because he's not a true Eagle fan. I brought in a replacement. It's myself, Mama's Tot. I'm the new host here. Let's answer your questions, right? Let's go ahead and keep going. Traded 6 for 12 and 18. I'm just kidding. Listen, here's the deal. The Eagles could not have gotten, 12 and 18 for number 6. The draft numbers don't work out overall, so that's obviously impossible. They aren't going to be able to go ahead and, I guess, they can take Terrace Marshall with their second-round draft pick, so that's possible. They're not going to take pay at 12. I'll be shocked if they take pay at 12. And other than that, Surtain can't stay with fast wide receivers. Are you sure about that? I'd watch the film. Here's the deal. The Eagles will have a good draft, okay? Like, the Eagles are going to have a good draft. Don't worry about it. I trust Howie Roseman. I know people, it's crazy to say, this is a hard draft to mess up. Let's just leave it at that, okay? Sorry to leave camera and come back, right? You guys swap out hosts sometimes. Okay, Jason says, what the Eagles need to do is trade Ertz in a third and the 12th to the Panthers for number 8 overall. I'm fine with that. Honestly, I have no problem with that. I think that's a very real possibility. Carolina would love to go ahead and pair Sam Darnold with some more weapons and get a tight end out of it, and the Eagles get 8 overall to go get Devonta Smith. Works for me. All right, again, hashtag Eagles in the comments to get in on our mailbag next week as we get closer to the NFL draft. And as we always say, turn the notification bell on here. That way you are notified in case the Eagles do trade up. Because if they do, you'll be one of the first people to know here, but only if you have the notifications turned on, so make sure that you do. Ultimately, for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, I am your host, Thomas Mott, or Mama's Todd, who really knows, signing off for the rest of your weekend.